Welcome back. In this section of the course, we are going to discuss the capabilities offered by Serverless SQL Pool to query JSON files. We will write scripts to read data from all the variations of the JSON format generally used in the industry. First, we will look at querying the line-delimited JSON files where JSON documents are separated by a new line character. These kind of JSON files are generally found in telemetry-based systems. An example of this type of JSON can be seen here. As you can see, each line of the JSON is a JSON document on its own and the lines are separated by a new line character. The next type of JSON file we look at querying is the standard JSON file. See here for an example of a standard JSON document. In these type of JSON documents, multiple JSON documents are stored as one single array. Finally, build a fully formatted JSON files, which are commonly referred to as classic JSON multi-line JSON files. These are very similar to the standard JSON in that many JSON documents are stored as one single array. The difference here is that individual JSON documents are nicely formatted into multiple lines. As you can see here. As we saw previously, OpenRowSet function doesn't have a specific parser for JSON document, but we can use a combination of the CSV parser and a couple of functions to query JSON files using Serverless SQL Pool. First, use the SQL parser to read the JSON file and output each of the JSON documents as a whole record. As you know, in a decent document, each element and value is separated by a comma. So if we leave the default field terminator of comma, it'll split the JSON document into many little pieces, which is not what we want. Also, the JSON documents can have quotes in the data, so we need to override the field terminator and the field code with a character that's generally not seen in the data. Recommended character from Microsoft is the vertical tab that has the hex value of 0x0b. This is sufficient for line-delimited JSON files, and the CSV parser would output each JSON document as a separate record. But this won't be sufficient for standard or classic JSON. This is because in those formats each record is not a valid JSON document, whereas the entire file makes the complete JSON array. So we need to read the entire JSON file as one record. So we also need to override the row terminator with a vertical tab. Now that the OpenRowSet function outputs each record as a valid JSON document, we can feed that into JSON function to pass the JSON and extract the elements into columns. We have two JSON functions available for this. The first one is the JSON value function, and we can use this to extract the element names and the values into column names and values. This has some limitations. It can't handle arrays, and also it's inefficient when dealing with large JSON documents with multiple properties. For this, we can use a function called OPENJSON, which will exploit arrays for us. In this part of the course, we will look at processing all the three types of JSON files that we discussed about, and also will use the JSON value function and the OPENJSON function to parse the JSON documents. Hope you're excited. Let's get started.